Welcome to Culture Builders Podcast. My name is JP Nurbin, and this is my podcast where I share short thoughts, tools, or models on leadership, as well as I read my weekly article, which I'm doing today. You can learn more about my work and get free resources on transformational leadership and culture at tocculture.com. All right, today's article: make it hard to be on your leadership team. Two ways to demand more from your leaders. So leadership isn't a title, it's a responsibility, and it should feel that way. We all know that having strong internal leadership is one of the best predictors of a team's success. But simply creating a leadership group or a captain's council, it doesn't guarantee anything. Too often, it's just a nice idea that falls flat. Why is this? Well, because these groups don't actually lead. When leadership groups are effective, the impact is undeniable. You get high standards, stronger connections, and better team performance. And you know what? Coaches enjoy their seasons more. But if the group fails to step up, well, honestly, it just becomes another source of frustration for us as coaches. Here's the thing. Leading is hard. And so being on your leadership group, it should be hard. The problem with most leadership group models isn't so much about how you select leaders or how often you meet with them, though those are important things that I also discuss in my book, The Culture System, in Chapter 9. Those things are really important. But I think one of the biggest problems that I'm seeing is how little we demand of our leaders. Melissa Lamy, who's the head soccer coach at Grove City College, I think she gets this, right? We had her on the podcast, the Coaching Culture podcast, back in 2024. And being on her team's leadership council is so demanding that she shared with us some players turn it down. Like, it's that hard. It's work. And that's the point. Like, this needs to be difficult. In the Harvard Business School book, Senior Leadership Teams, researchers identified a key ingredient for successful leadership groups. They have to have a function. They need to do something. Your leaders only grow by leading, and leading isn't easy. So how do you raise the bar? Well, here are two ways to make sure your leadership team, your captain's council, your leadership council, they actually lead. Number one, lead a unit. Give each leader 3 to 5 players to support and hold accountable. These are their people. And when a player is struggling with standards, the leader, not you, should handle it. This creates a layer of leadership. Just as your athletic director doesn't bypass you to address your assistant coach, you should hesitate to bypass your leaders to address their unit members. For example, when player X shows up late, address the leader responsible for that individual, not the player directly. When player Y is unhappy with their role or playing time, involve the leader responsible for that individual. Ask them to join you in a conversation with the player, or possibly task them with addressing the player's poor attitude and unwillingness to accept their role. By holding leaders accountable for their unit, you make leadership real. Number 2, assign a specific role. Like, leaders need clear responsibilities tied to the daily operations. Assign roles based on areas of the program or specific standards. Some examples of this could be the chief time officer, ensures practices and warm-ups start on time. The chief locker room officer, keeps spaces clean and organized. Chief energy officer, drives positive energy during practices and games. Chief social officer, organizes team building activities. Make it clear. When something doesn't happen, warm-ups start late, the locker room's a mess, or practice energy is low, it's their responsibility. For example, if practice starts late, meet with the time officer. Don't give out to the team. If the bus is left a mess, hold the locker room officer accountable, not the rest of the team. Assign roles, set expectations, and then follow up. Leaders rise to the occasion when they're empowered and then held responsible. All right, here's a final thought. Stop rowing alone. If you're doing all the heavy lifting for your team, it's not a leadership team that you have. True leadership is about action, not just titles. Make it hard to be on your leadership team, and you'll be amazed at the results.